recording. Okay, yeah. Okay, so hi, my name's Rory Mellis. My school ID is 017556446. And this is the fortune telling Java project. So I'll just do a sort of like run through of the code of how it works, and then I'll just do some simple testing. Okay, so these first few lines, I'm just importing I'm actually not sure the exact name I should use, whether I'm importing like outside class, but basically I'm just importing a scanner, and I don't need this java.util. I ended up not using the function that I imported it for, but it doesn't really hurt to have it there. I guess it like makes it a little less efficient, but in this case, it doesn't really do anything. Okay, so I have my class. Oh, and one other thing is, so I have my code in an Eclipse file, but for this online GDB one, the class is main. In my Eclipse file, it's like Rory Mellis Java project or something. Okay, so we're just making the scanner. We have our static void line. Okay, so I'm first just going to output a print statement of please enter 2 numbers and a character. I asked for them to be 0 to 9 and A through K, as those are the ranges of values I have here. Like there's 9 or 0 to 9. So there's 10 for the expressions, 10 for the objects, and I think there's 11 for the animals. So I just use the next int and the next function to get 2 integers in a string. And I have this rerun variable here, which I'll demonstrate its usability later. And so how I basically went about doing this is I created 6 string arrays, 3 with symbols, 3 with the words, and so they're all labeled like object sim, expression sim, which is symbol. And so basically in these statements, I'm just checking if the integer they entered is in the index range for the array. If it is, I want to extract the element of the array at that index. So basically, if they enter, let's say 5 for list x sim, so list x sim, I1 would be 5, it'd be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it would return this item right here. And then I have these, so these variables, basically just to simplify things. So instead of like in my print statements all the way down here of just doing like the array and then the index, I made it save to a variable so that I could just kind of use it later and it'd be a little cleaner. And those are my res1, 1a, 2, 2a, 3, 3a. And basically these are just the variables for, or I guess why don't I split these just so it's easier to tell that there's 6, but they're really just 3 with groups of 2. And then so A signifies the normal one, and the one without the A signifies the symbol. So okay, so for my my if statement here, basically I'm just saying if it's within the range. So if it's in the index range of the string, it's a valid value and it will return the value at that index, whatever the user entered. And then I have an else statement, which I use elsewhere too, which basically just says if they input something not in that range, aka an invalid entry, it will output there's an error to an invalid entry. I did this dot thing just because that looked clean. And then returning a quarter. I just made it all up. And then I set this Boolean value equal to false so that my end statement does not print. Because I don't want it to have an invalid entry and then try to run my my ending output, you know. So from there we've covered the first integer value. The second one is literally the exact same. Literally the only difference is it's a different string array and it's I2 instead of I1. And they're literally the same thing. The strings are the same length, so it's literally just the exact same code. You're just referencing a different string array with different contents and then sending that to a different variable, res2 and res2a instead of res1 and res1a. The exact same else statement. And again, it'll set rerun to false, so the ending doesn't run. And then for the characters, if this was Python, I would have just created an array of characters and said, if string 1 is in this array, set it equal to blank, 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 whatever. But basically, I just went one by one and basically associated letters with numbers of like A is 0, B is 1, C is 2, D is 3, and so on. And I just I made the res3 and res3a variables indexed to that letter value. So pretty simple. It's the same for everything. It's just the letters and the numbers increment by 1. It'll go all the way to k and 10. The exact same else statement if they enter anything that is other than these. And I could have done or for lowercase g, but I just included it in my statement up here. A through K for character in uppercase, because there wasn't anything special about that, and I didn't think it really mattered all that much. And so basically at this point, I've sifted through the values, seeing whether they're valid or not, and if they are, I've saved my 6 result variables, and then basically I just run my easy print statement. So if rerun is true, if none of these else statements are triggered, here it will print all the symbols, and then here it will print the actual words itself. And yeah, that's about it. So why don't I test it? So for starters, let's do 10, 5, and B. So 5 and B are valid, 10 is not. So I press enter. Perfect. There was an error. It didn't output my ending code or do anything like that. So yeah, that was good. Let's run it again. Let's do an actual one this time. So let's do 6, 3, and K. And then yeah, so it gives me the symbols, a snail. And this is like I got creative with it, I guess. Not that creative, but I feel you will be in love with an eye. Okay, I should probably change that around a little bit, but that's not like functionality, that's just kind of wording. Because I didn't want to do an individual thing for every value of like you fall in love with a girl with a pretty eye. Like that's a lot of just adding random stuff. So I kind of just tried to make a one size fits all kind of sentence there. Let's try it again. Like that worked fine. It was just sounded a little off. Let's try 7-2B. I see these weird symbols in your future. If I look a little further, I feel you will be bored with a rose, and your omen on that day will be a cat. Perfect. And let's try one more, and then let's try one more invalid. Let's try 5, 5, A, B, C, D, E. So 5, 5, 5, I guess. Let's try that. And yeah, I feel you'll be angry with the Christmas tree. Your omen on that day will be a mouse. Perfect. So let's run one more time, and we know that the letters work fine because I tested that as my first run. So let's try 5, 5, so valid values, but then let's try like Z. And this should get an error. Perfect. There we are. And that's everything. Okay, yeah, that's it for my Java project. Thank you for listening. All right, bye bye.